right, you guys. Hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond here. Welcome to another Diamond Report Live. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoyed the Greg Reese report we just watched. And let's just say that it has come to my attention that much of what he talks about, or at least some of what he talks about in that video, has already been deployed, and in fact, it's far worse than what he's even talking about. And I had a friend send me a link to this particular video here that we're looking at, and this channel, as well as some other channels, talking about WBAN, W-B-A-N, which apparently is a body area network, and how things like what Reese is talking about here in this particular video is picked apart in this video that we're looking at here, and how it's kind of like basically made fun of. How far behind he is in reporting what's actually happening. So apparently it's quite possibly far worse than what we're even aware of. So anyway, I'm going to look into that more. I only just found out about this person and this channel in the last day or two, and haven't had much time to devote to it. But I welcome you guys to help me in that research. And yeah, make sure you're on the Substack list. I'll send this link out on the Substack post when it goes out on Monday or Tuesday. So it looks pretty interesting, and unfortunately, it looks far worse than we're even led to believe here, according to what Greg's even reporting on, which I thought was pretty well done. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. It's 10:08 p.m. on Sunday night, February 18th, 2024. It's a cold night in Nashville. It's about, I don't know, right around freezing. I think Punxsutawney Phil might have been wrong. We seem to have taken another U-turn back into winter, at least temperature-wise. We don't have any snow this time around. How about where you guys are? I don't think old Phil knows about geoengineering, though, does he? Anyway, let's take a look at what I've pulled up here for you guys. I've found some interesting articles and some videos and things like that. Once again, it's a jam-packed broadcast for tonight. We'll see how much we can squeeze in. I've been pushing my limits right up to the 3-hour mark lately on the videos that I'm uploading. It's a self-imposed limit. I don't really want to put videos out that are 3 hours long consistently, and or over 3 hours long. I know people do it, but I don't really want to do that. I feel like that's kind of the maximum that people will even pay attention to. So I'm wasting my time going over 3 hours. So I think that we'll do what we can. We'll squeeze in what we can. I've probably got 10 videos to watch, and including some, not including some that are tabs across my screen here. So we'll see how much we can get to. So let's jump right into it. I saw this on Hal's site and thought it was pretty funny. We need a new map to get Congress to protect the border. So here's our new map. Formerly, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas are now Taiwan, Israel, and Ukraine. It's the only way we can get Congress to protect the border. So there you go. Thought that was pretty good. So this is on HalTurnerRadioshow.com is where we are. These are just some of the headlines on his site since we were last together last Sunday night. Ukraine sinks Russian Navy ship in the Black Sea. Madness. Israeli TV agrees all Gazans over the age of 4 are Hamas, and every house is a Hamas headquarters. Thus, a reason to kill absolutely everyone. So says Israel. And it's not the Israel of the Bible. It's not. These Israelis are creating a genocide. And they are abject murderers, in my opinion. Socialists pour red powder onto the U.S. Constitution. If you missed it, that's what it looks like. I'm assuming it was probably supposed to be blood. It's as good as they could do, because it's, probably not real easy to get stuff into the gallery there where it is. National Archives were evacuated Wednesday after 2 protesters dumped red powder on the protective case around the Constitution. And who knows if that's even the real Constitution in there. I've been in there and seen that before. I'm not sure if you guys have, but says a video posted on X shows 2 men covered in reddish pink powder standing in front of the equally splattered horizontal glass the case that houses the Constitution. We are determined to foment a rebellion, one man says. We all deserve clean air, water, food, and a livable climate. So that's what it comes down to. They didn't have any paintings of the Mona Lisa around so they could throw their red powder on it, so they decided to go for the Constitution instead. Anyway, just thought you guys would like to see that if you hadn't already. Russia denies the space-based weaponry claim. They say it's a trick to get Ukraine funding. I tend to believe them. The Russians, I think, in all of this mess, seem to be telling the truth. I mean, who knows? I mean, they could be lying as well, obviously. But it seems like it would make more sense to me, at least, just looking at it from a realistic standpoint, that it's the American media, the American empire, that's doing the lying here. Russian space-based weaponry. We've had all these talk about dues and all of these things recently with the Maui fires and the Chile fires and all kinds of stuff. So there'll be a lot of people that would be ready, willing, and able to believe that Russia has space-based weaponry. Who knows? Maybe they do. But they're saying that it's a trick to get Ukraine funding. Putin, it's official, Putin has officially endorsed Biden as president. And I shared this on my Facebook page with sort of a tongue-in-cheek, kind of a laugh. So here it is. If you don't believe me, you can see it for yourself. And then I was sort of joking because I figured that it would be for the people that don't like to hear this, that he's endorsing Biden, they're going to say, well, the translation's wrong. Well, maybe, but I doubt it. Here it is.
Ну, тогда вопрос, который был 4 года назад и сейчас, получается, снова становится актуальным. Для нас кто лучше, Байден или Трамп?
Байден. Он человек более опытный,
Biden, he says.
прогнозируемый.
Biden.
Он политик старый.
He's more experienced and predictable person.
Будем работать с любым.
So I'll just read it for you guys. Here's a question that was asked 4 years ago and is now becoming relevant again. For us, who is better? Meaning for the Russians, Biden or Trump? And again, I don't know that it matters, but I do think this was interesting. He says Biden, and then he's a more experienced and predictable person and a politician of the old school. But we will work with any U.S. leader entrusted by the American people. Like Biden was entrusted by the American people. No, he was entrusted by the same Democrats over and over and over again. Right? He got 82 million votes, more than Barack Obama did. But he did not have 82 million voters. Kind of an important point there. Anyway, Putin says it should be Biden. He's officially endorsed him. Covert intel, 1 million drones. Not sure what that is, but that's for subscribers, I guess. Russian political opposition leader Navalny is dead. Alexei Navalny, Russia's most famous opposition leader, opposing Putin, apparently, died on Friday after collapsing and losing consciousness. But he was already in prison. He was in the penal colony north of the Arctic Circle. So yeah, a little chilly up there, I'm sure. Did he take this guy? I don't know. Being how he was in prison, he may have had to. But who knows? So there's more here on HalTurnerRadioShow.com. I'm looking to see if anything else jumps out at me. American truckers. I saw a comment in the chat about that. American truckers retaliating over Trump civil verdict will begin refusing loads to NYC to cut the food supply. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how well organized they are. I haven't really seen a whole lot about that. Seems like they probably won't be able to realistically get all truckers to stop, but even if they can make a big dent in it, they could probably prove their point if they really wanted to. Medvedev says, we will use our entire strategic arsenal on Kiev, Berlin, London, and Washington. When they say strategic arsenal, they mean nuclear bombs. Medvedev is they got Putin and Medvedev out there, and in most people's opinion, Medvedev is probably playing the bad cop. Putin is playing the good cop. He's saying he wants to work with the West. Medvedev is ready to hit the nuke button, apparently. Russian Federation Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev said today, this was today on the 18th, that Kiev, London, Washington, Berlin, and other places will be hit by Russian nuclear bombs before Russia would ever allow return of the territories that it now possesses. So that was fresh from Medvedev's mouth apparently today. And then there is a covert intel article here, decision made, invasion of Rafah. So subscribers only, you know who you are. So yeah, that's on HalTurnerRadioShow.com. And then needtoknow.news. This is a site that we often look at on this show. Now, I mentioned this last week. It was just kind of breaking news at that moment because it happened last Sunday. Texas, off-duty cops kill migrant transgender person who opened fire in Joel Osteen's church. Remember that story? 36-year-old, quote, woman, I think she really was a woman, named Janice Moreno, who was reportedly born in El Salvador, opened fire inside Pastor Joel Osteen's Lakewood, Texas megachurch on Sunday before the Spanish-language service began. 2 off-duty law enforcement officers working as church security returned fire on Moreno and killed her. Moreno allegedly entered the building wearing a trench coat, holding an AR-15 with Free Palestine written on the side while dragging along a 5-year-old child. The suspected shooter was the only party who was killed. However, the boy is said to be in critical condition after being shot in the head. He is unlikely to live, per Fox News. Don't know if that was her kid. I would imagine it probably was. The gender of Moreno is unknown. No, it's not. As police records show, Moreno previously identified as a male named Jeffrey Escalante, leaving people questioning the individual's biological gender. So I mentioned at the time when this news broke that it sounds just like the Nashville shooting and the transgender shooter there too. That's what this person was. Fox News reported that Moreno was a biological male, but Moreno's mother-in-law implied that she/he gave birth to the child who was shot. That pretty much makes her a her. There are many other contradictory and odd facts that have been reported in this case. So yeah, definitely a woman, if you ask me. And more info on this page. This is needtoknow.news. Yeah, it's too bad she had to drag her kid into the mess. Wow. Of course, it might not have been her kid. I mean, all these people are bringing kids across the border who aren't even their kids. They're just being handed kids. So it could have very easily been someone else's little boy. Don't know. All right, revolver.news. Found some interesting articles from there, linked from that site. Got the insurance blues. I'm sure you guys have probably looked at your home and auto insurance costs lately. Home and auto insurance costs are soaring. Auto insurance is up more than 20% from a year ago. Thank you, Bidenomics. In many places, private home insurance isn't available at all. Customers are steaming. Insurance Chart notes the auto insurance data series is straight from the BLS. Home insurance data is from the BLS via Fred and the St. Louis Fed Data Repository. So, anyway, you can see that they're spiking. Car insurance is on an amazing run. For 13 straight months, insurance is up at least 1%. For 20 straight months, car insurance is up at least 0.7%. Home insurance, if you can get it at all, from any private insurer is also rising at a fast clip as the lead chart shows. So here's car insurance going up, up, up. And there's home insurance doing the exact same thing. So, I know, not a surprise, but you got to talk about these kind of things because everything that they're doing in Washington is affecting our wallets, right? Everything. And Biden says it's the greatest economy ever. All right, technocracy.news. Got 3 front and center articles here that we can look at. Government funds AI tools for whole of internet surveillance and censorship. Whole of internet. That's pretty much the whole internet. This is Patrick Wood talking here. When I gave my 2024 forecast last month, I said the enemies of free speech are going nuclear and intend to wipe it out by the end of the year. Meaning free speech. Most of my readers can't see the magnitude of what this means, much less the role AI is playing in the hands of evil people. We need to scream tsunami to warn people that there is a 200-foot tidal wave of censorship about to hit and that it will be fatal. Yeah, he means for us. So, not good news. That's Patrick Wood talking there. Guilt trip, have a baby and kill the environment, ? When technocracy, aka sustainable development, says that it wants to manage all resources in balance with nature, that includes you too. So pressure is applied on young couples to not have children to serve the greater good by saving the planet. But it's okay to keep geoengineering. That's fine. You're not even supposed to know that that's happening, you conspiracy theorist. Your selfishness might be appeased by financial indulgences of carbon offsets for the rest of your life. And you can also chuck God's first command to man to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Yeah, just got to throw that out, I guess. So that's another article on technocracy.news. And this is the third one here. Car dealers slash prices on electric vehicles as demand craters. Dueling headlines in America this month. Don't believe what you've heard. Electric vehicle sales in the U.S. are zooming. No, they're not. That's a total lie. Versus, as demand for EVs plummets, Biden's green fantasy is pummeling U.S. auto dealers. Increasingly, EV owners are waking up from the dream and realizing that their shiny new $60,000 car is nothing but an expensive golf cart. Yeah, and it probably won't even last that long as far as the battery goes. Sorry, EV owners out there. But yeah, you've been snookered. All right, reclaimthenet.org. Just look at the headlines on this site, but you guys can check the site out if you find anything interesting here. Colorado bill empowering Attorney General to study online misinformation sparks free speech concerns. So yet again, more free speech issues. I think we're about to have our free speech taken from us. I don't know what you guys think. RFK Jr. wins injunction against Biden administration censorship. We'll look at that a little closer as well. Acquisition of AI surveillance firm signals major expansion of real-time citywide monitoring. Real-time citywide monitoring. Trudeau government is sued over Emergencies Act, freezing civil liberties protesters ban accounts. And ban accounts, I guess. Maine school backtracks on using fingerprints to track students. It's because they'll just use facial recognition probably instead. Or if the kids have been scanned, they don't even need to. The body's already a network, so they can just scan them, right? We're just looking at that as we started the show tonight. UK peers grill the government about the Counter Disinformation Unit, which spied on lawful speech by government critics. Yes, but you can't criticize the government anymore. That's an old thought. Can no longer do that. Study pushes for fact checks to be rebranded as confirmations. So get ready. They're not going to be fact checks anymore. People have made fun of them to no end. So they're not going to be fact checks. They're going to be confirmations. But it'll still be the lying fact checkers. They'll just be the lying confirmationalists, I guess. So those are on reclaimthenet.org. The Liberty Beacon, got a few articles pulled up from here. F around and find out. Truckers warn loads to New York City will be rejected. So it says truckers warn of a bumpy road starting Monday. So F around and find out. It says truckers warn loads to NYC will be rejected. Google search trends for trucker boycott surging across nation. They've probably put the kibosh on that, I'm guessing. So trucker boycott was trending on Twitter. As well as a Google search. So there's the searches. It says, I'm a trucker. I stand with the boycott. Time to show the corrupt that we run this country, not them. One ex-user says. So a trucker there. And besides New York City, truckers on X call for drivers to boycott liberal cities. So it's talking about Brandon here. I am a hazmat trucker and I only deliver to red states. So that's interesting. So I guess these are probably, guys that are owner-operators maybe. If you work for a company, I don't see how you have any choice. It says what this country needs is a good old-fashioned trucker boycott of Democrat-run cities. The left needs to be reminded of who really runs this country. That's true. Pretty much everything comes in by truck. Liberals laugh at the thought of a trucker boycott of New York City. A few years ago, trucker boycott brought the state of Colorado to its knees. MAGA patriots make this country run. Liberals make our coffee. Another ex-user says. So there you go. What happens if the truck stops? So we've got a little infographic here. In 24 hours, delivery of medical supplies to the affected area will cease. Hospitals will run out of basic supplies, such as syringes. Service stations will begin to run out of fuel. Manufacturers using just-in-time manufacturing will develop component shortages. U.S. mail and other package delivery will cease within 1 day. Food shortages will begin to develop within 1 day. Automobile fuel availability and delivery will dwindle, leading to skyrocketing prices and long lines at the gas pumps. Within 2 to 3 days of the trucker boycott, food shortages will escalate, especially in the face of hoarding and consumer panic. Supplies of essentials such as bottled water, powdered milk, and canned meat at major retailers will disappear. ATMs will run out of cash and banks will be unable to process transactions. Service stations will completely run out of fuel for autos and trucks. Garbage will start piling up in urban and suburban areas. Container ships will sit idle in ports and rail transport will be disrupted, eventually coming to a standstill. So we're still only 2 to 3 days in at this point. See how important trucking is? Within the first week, automobile travel will cease due to the lack of fuel, and hospitals will begin to exhaust oxygen supplies. The second week, the nation's clean water supply will begin to run dry. And by the fourth week, the nation will exhaust its clean water supply. Illness will increase, further taxing an already weakened healthcare system. So this is just an infographic that I'm reading from here, but I tend to believe them. And it's all kind of based on this goofball that's now found Trump guilty just because he's Trump and finding him $355 million, according to that cartoon. So who knows? But the MAGA truckers don't really care for that too much. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I sort of doubt that it will go that far, but you just never know. Tucker Carlson bombshell: Americans are controlled by a vast, invisible censorship regime. Well, that's pretty obvious, I guess, to all of us, but it's news to a lot of people. Perhaps you've seen texts or heard people talking about Tucker's interview with Mike Benz regarding the national security state's vast censorship regime operating within America. You might have thought to yourself, well, I already know that. No, you really don't. Until you take the hour to listen to the interview, you have absolutely no true understanding of what's been happening in America since the second Obama administration, and with increased power, fury, and vindictiveness since the Americans dared elect Trump. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing, I've embedded the video at the end of this post along with Scott Adams' commentary. Here's the gist. Mike Benz used to hold the cyber portfolio at the State Department and is now the executive director of the Foundation for Freedom Online. He's seen the system from the inside and studied it from the outside. This is here's the broad outline of what he told Tucker. Since the very beginning, the internet has been a federal program with its roots in DARPA. DARPA, as you may know, is the research and development arm of the Department of Defense. Google started with a grant from DARPA to Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who also got funding from CIA and NSA programs. So if you think Google is not part of the government, you would be wrong. It always has been. It was founded with money from DARPA. The government's original purpose in creating the internet was free speech oriented. National security agencies want to use free access to information to create soft coups against governments the U.S. disliked, which in those days were totalitarian governments. Now, the American government is the totalitarian government, the main one. By providing dissenters with a way to come together, the U.S. didn't need military coups such as those attempted against Cuba and carried out successfully in Iran. Instead, through the Clinton, Bush, and Obama administrations, the government could control their opponents' information systems and fairly reliably their elections. According to Benz, the system worked wonderfully all the way through the Arab Spring, when the internet facilitated Obama's dream of overthrowing Sunni governments to help facilitate Iran's rise within the Muslim sphere of influence. When ISIS rose up from the ashes in the Arab Spring, the U.S. government got the mandate to create a new technology that would track ISIS on social media. This new artificial intelligence can understand and map everything said on social media, and with a few lines of code, delete tens of millions of posts, which is what they started using when the Klausch book came out too. But I digress. We have lots more information here, so feel free to look at this, and I would highly recommend listening to this Mike Benz interview by Tucker on his Twitter. So, yeah. So there it is, and then the last Liberty Beacon article I've got pulled up, how the CIA destabilizes the world. How the CIA destabilizes the world. If only the CIA's rogue operations had been consigned to history as a result of the crimes exposed by the Church Committee, or at the least, had brought the CIA under the rule of law and public accountability. But that was not to be. There are three basic problems with the CIA, which you can call them clowns in action, right? CIA. Its objectives, methods, and unaccountability. Its operational objectives are whatever the CIA or the President of the United States defines to be in the U.S. interest at a given time, irrespective of international law or U.S. law. Its methods are secretive and duplicitous. Its unaccountability means that the CIA and President can run foreign policy without any public scrutiny. Congress is a doormat, a sideshow. And that's what we're seeing right now. The CIA is running it all, and they have been for a long time. Ever since JFK was taken out, if you ask me. So, pretty good article here on the Liberty Beacon. And we've got some Daily Crow articles pulled up. This is the first one that I came across. It's a video, though. It's not too long. Disease X is coming and is connected to the Book of Revelation prophecy. I've got the speed cranked up a little bit here to 1.5. So let's listen to some of this. May not listen to the whole thing, but let's just see how it goes. Just check it out. Disease X is coming and it's connected to the Book of Revelation.
World leaders are raising concerns about a new disease they say is coming and that it'll be worse than the ones we've seen before. They've coined this Disease X. The Book of Revelation, as well as Jesus' own words in the Gospel accounts, tell us of horrible plagues that will be coming upon the earth. We'll look at how Disease X fits exactly into what the Bible tells us is coming. Klaus Schwab and the WEF are a few world leaders who have been warning about Disease X recently. On July 10th, 2023, this article was published on the WEF website. Disease X, this is how we should prepare for the next big virus. Within the article, it talks about the world coming together on a global scale to prepare for this. How can a global pandemic treaty help deal with a virus outbreak? And as of this very day, the World Government Summit in Dubai on February 12th through the 14th, world leaders put forth plans for a worldwide agreement to tackle this issue. WHO chief warns of next global outbreak, asks countries to deliver agreement at World Government Summit 2024 in Dubai. The Director General of the World Health Organization said in a statement there that the next may be caused by a new pathogen we don't even know about yet, or what we call Disease X. For a base understanding of how they want to handle Disease X when they say it's coming, Klaus Schwab, the founder of the WEF, says that China was the best model for who handled the last pandemic the best. World Economic Forum Chair Klaus Schwab declares on Chinese state TV, China is a model for many nations. I think we should be very careful in imposing systems, but the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries. Just as a reminder, in case anyone didn't see these next few clips of how China handled things, their zero policy was completely evil. They were seen barring people's doors shut so they couldn't leave their homes. Other videos showed them welding apartment door buildings shut.
Around China, residents post scenes claiming officials are welding the doors of apartment buildings shut so people can't get out.
哎，那个是门吗？才敢那门哦，把门封的了。你看那个电焊，那电焊工在那块焊的，那中间是一个门，你看，可怕。
把门弄都焊死了，不让出屋了。下一个就是我们6号楼了，这是我家。
And you can hear the agony of the people in China in this next video where they're crying out from their apartment buildings because they are forced to stay inside and they can't leave at all.
5分钟前头，交完没寄回来，现在突然之间，所有的都叫了，要死。
Bill Gates is another world leader who's been talking about the next disease, or Disease X. There's many videos of Bill laughing when talking about the supposed serious issues of this all, but here's one where him and his ex-wife Melinda Gates are seen laughing when talking about the next big disease.
Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, they took their experience and actually prepared, and so they moved a lot faster. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
So how does this all tie into the Bible? Well, the first reference that we'll look at is in the book of Luke, and then we'll look at what the book of Revelation has to say, and there's a lot there. In Luke 21:11, Jesus tells us that in the last days there will be pestilences, which is another word for a terrible disease. And there will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines, and pestilences, and there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. A really incredible verse that we should look at in correlation with this is in Matthew 9:35. Then Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. So Jesus Christ has all the power to heal every form of disease, so don't lose heart or be in fear. The book of Revelation has a few mentions of plagues and pestilences in the last days. Chapter 6 tells us about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Revelation 6:8 is probably the most relevant verse in relation to this, and it tells us about the last horse, the pale horse. I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. But again, followers of Jesus Christ have a great hope in the face of this, because Jesus took not only our sins from us, but also the fear of death. And you, being dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, he has made alive together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, having wiped out the handwriting of requirements that was against us, which was contrary to us, and he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross. The book of Revelation also mentions another way that plagues will come upon the earth in the last days, and it's through the 2 witnesses. Revelation 11:3-12 describes 2 individuals who come to accomplish God's will during the Great Tribulation, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, and they will have great power given to them from God. Revelation 11:6 tells us that they have power to strike the earth with plagues. These have power to shut heaven so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy, and they have power over the waters to turn them to blood, and to strike the earth with all plagues as often as they desire. Now this verse may strike fear in some, but again, there's always a counter verse for those who are followers of Jesus Christ. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. This is one of the countless reasons why it's so important to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, because every verse in the Bible that strikes fear that's directed towards the unbelievers, we have a verse of refuge and safety and deliverance for those who are followers of Jesus Christ. There's a group of people in the last days who will reject God's ways and follow after the Antichrist. They will receive the mark of the beast, and a specific plague will come upon them for doing this. Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the 7 angels, "Go, pour out the 7 bowls of God's wrath on the earth." The first angel went and poured out his bowl on the land, and ugly festering sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. The world is telling us disease X is coming. When or how that comes about, we'll have to wait and see. But we can count on what the Bible says. We know that when the book of Revelation starts to unfold, diseases will be brought upon the earth like we've never seen before. You want to make sure that you are found in Jesus Christ before that day comes. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of self-control. While these prophecies in the book of Luke, Revelation, and elsewhere are unstoppable and will happen no matter what, God calls us to turn to him in the face of such trials. When I shut up heaven and there is no rain, or command the locusts to devour the land, or send pestilence among my people, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. These prophecies are going to come to pass no matter what, but we don't know the exact timeline of these events. So when different uncertainties come about, or when we're faced against pestilences, God tells us that we're to humble ourselves, to pray, and to seek him, and he will bring healing to our land. So I pray that that will be the heart cry of every person watching this, for America and for all the world, and that even these world leaders will turn from spreading their fear about new diseases, about disease X, and will accept Jesus Christ as Lord and spread the truth and the love of the gospel. I hope and pray you're well. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Yeah, really well done. We did end up watching the full video. Of course, I had the speed cranked up, so my apologies if that was too fast for you guys. But Sling and Stone. Sling and Stone is the YouTube channel. Really well done. Really cool video, and I agree with everything he said, except I do think the book of Revelation is unfolding right now. Right now. I know you guys know what I think, but I just thought I would reiterate that. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this stuff playing out right now. And one of the things that he mentioned there in this video, right here when he's talking about the 2 witnesses, and I just realized, you know, as far as the 1260 days, that they will be doing their thing. They'll be on the scene. If you go to the timeline that I've spoken of so often here, and let me just turn the chat off just for a second so you guys can see this. Jesus' return, Feast of Trumpets, September 2028. You guys know this. If you go back 1260 days, it takes you to about March of 2025, potentially, when they might show up. And I have January 2025 on here because that's the beginning of the Antichrist's reign, the final 3.5 years. But that also is including this extra 75 days right here, the 7 bowls. 2.5 months, 75 days. This is all stuff that I cover in my End Times Dates series, if you guys want to take a look at that if you haven't already. But yeah, 1,260 days working backwards from Jesus' return would be somewhere around March of 2025. So not too long, not too far from now. So just an idea, something to look out for. But anyway, I thought the video was really well done, and so thank you to Sling and Stone for putting that together. I thought that was good stuff. All right, next article I have pulled up, freebeacon.com. The Washington Free Beacon, Iran tests ballistic missiles in preparation for strike on Israel. Tehran simulates attack on Israeli hangar housing American-made F-35s. So they are working on it. They really want their war, don't they? But the Iranians are being forced into it, I'm afraid. Just like Russia and so many others at this point by the American empire. Syria is also ready for war. Ready for wars with Israel. Where have you heard this one before? You ever heard of a little place called Damascus? Ending the occupation of the Golan Heights is a top priority for Damascus, Faisal Mekdad has said. I mentioned this last week, or at least a comment from him. Damascus is fully prepared to defend its territory in a potential military conflict with Israel. Sounds a little biblical there, doesn't it? Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad said on Sunday as the regional crisis continues. Mekdad was speaking at a meeting with Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein, in Damascus, where they discussed joint support for Palestinians during Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. Mekdad said that Syria has been resisting Israel since 1948, when the first full-blown war broke out between several Arab nations in the newly established Jewish state. So, anyway, that's on RT.com. And then this one from Information Liberation. Israel massacres civilians in Gaza safe zone while advertising their own victimhood during the Super Bowl. I saw something earlier that I'm going to have to look into a little bit closer, but it's talking about all of the satanic stuff that had to do with the Super Bowl, which we won't get into the Super Bowl at this point, but you guys know that it happened. We reported on it last weekend. And to no one's surprise, the Chiefs won. I know. But superb owl is what people were saying in these more recent videos. And you guys know what owl means in the whole satanic thing. They worship owls, but yeah, they're calling it superb owl instead of Super Bowl. So something to look at if you wanted to. Just do a search for it, superb owl, and see what you come up with. But yeah, Israel massacred civilians in the previously declared safe zone of Rafah in southern Gaza on Sunday night while they were running ads during the Super Bowl playing up their own victimhood. Some of this year's Super Bowl ads look a little different. It's because there are 136 innocent people still being held hostage by a terrorist group in Gaza. That was the Israel War Room video and tweet they put out. And there's the ad. Super Bowl ad paid for Robert Kraft's Stand Up to Jew Hate organization featuring MLK speechwriter Dr. Jones. The strikes were timed in advance. Translation: Biden has endorsed the ethnic cleansing of Rafah. Israel, everyone in Gaza move to Rafah and you'll be safe. Also, Israel, we're going to bomb Rafah right now. Go somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, I think I said that last week. That, first they moved them out of the north because they were bombing the north. They moved them to the south, and now they're going to bomb the south. It's 3 a.m. in Palestine. Israel is currently committing a massacre in Rafah. All aid to Israel and all support for Israel must end. They must be punished for the crimes against humanity. Do you think they will be? I don't know. Not by humans, at least. That's what I think. Little kids are the main victims. And we just saw earlier in the headline there on HalTurnerRadioShow.com that everyone 4 years old and up are considered Hamas now by Israel. 4 years old and up. Wow. I mean, have they not become the literal Nazis that they supposedly were killed and euthanized by back during World War II by Hitler and the Nazis? They've literally become those same exact people, only probably worse to some degree. Wow. So I thought this was kind of interesting. Tong Tong, the world's first AI child, unveiled at an exhibition, currently speaks and behaves like a 3 or 4-year-old. Gets set for tantrums. World's first AI child. So I guess this is what you do instead of having an actual child. You have an AI child. It's more carbon friendly because there's no carbon involved. World's first AI child developed by Chinese, of course, scientists, possesses the emotional development and cognitive ability of a 3 or 4-year-old human child and still far more advanced than Joseph Biden, if you ask me. Tong Tong, which means little girl, is the name given to it by scientists at the Beijing Institute for General Artificial Intelligence. Wow, this is what it's come to, huh? The AI child debuted last month at the Frontiers of General Artificial Intelligence Technology exhibition, where it engaged with visitors and demonstrated its human-like qualities. Tong Tong is limited in the digital realm, yet even virtually constrained, it possesses emotional intelligence, a vocabulary of more than 600 words. Oh, that's far more than Biden. And the ability to learn autonomously like a child. Again, far more advanced than Biden. It speaks and behaves like a 3 or 4-year-old human right now, but since it's always learning, its capabilities are expected to increase. So in other news, we'll probably see a headline in a year or two about how Tong Tong wants to take over the planet. Anyway, that's what they're doing in China. Inventing AI children. Wow. Speaking of AI, we should all be scared of OpenAI's new AI video generator. I think we can all agree that this AI thing has gone too far. Well, when they start making AI videos of dogs with snow on their faces, they have definitely gone too far. Because we all know how cute real dogs are. Yesterday, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, announced Sora, S-O-R-A, the company's new AI video generator, like DALL-E or DALL-E and ChatGPT before it. Sora is able to take in natural language commands from the user, understand the request, and reproduce it as advertised. Only instead of producing text-based responses or generating an image, Sora generates an entire realistic video better than any AI program I've ever seen, and I don't mean that as a compliment. And if you want to doubt what I'm saying here, have a look at this. I'll mute it because it's not important on the audio. This was one of the things that was input into Sora. Create a half-duck dragon. A half-duck, half-dragon, and it's flying through a beautiful sunset with a hamster dressed in adventure gear on its back. This is what it came up with. Half duck, half dragon, flying through a beautiful sunset with a hamster dressed in adventure gear on its back. That's all the input they gave it. That's it. Text. A verbal command, and it created this. Pixar, well, not quite as good as something from Pixar, but you guys can see the quality. What I don't know is how long it took, but probably not long, is my guess. Anyway, I didn't know if you guys knew about AI video. And I had an article pulled up earlier, too, talking. I ended up not leaving it up, but I probably should have. It was an article talking about AI-generated porn video, talking about how it was geared towards Christians, but I would think that it would be geared toward any people. Talking about how dangerous it's going to be, and that all of that particular subject matter will be AI generated in the future, probably a very near future. So anyway, pretty interesting. And this is talking about some of the more innocent type things, just with the dogs and the ducks and dragons and so forth. But Sora. Yeah, Sora. So something to look out for. And you can definitely check into that if you have a chance. Houston police address the Lakewood shooter's pronouns during investigation press conference. This is the woman, not the guy, but the woman who shot up the Lakewood church, Joel Osteen's church. During a press conference, says the Houston police had to turn into the pronoun police because we live in clown world. During a press conference discussing the details of the attempted mass shooting at Joel Osteen's Lakewood church, the Houston PD had to discuss their investigation into the shooter's pronouns because that's important. So, and you guys can watch this. I would play it, except the audio is really quiet and it's only in one channel. But here's what he said. So, she has utilized both male and female names, but all of our investigations to this point, talking with individuals, interviews, documents, Houston Police Department reports, she has been identified this entire time as female/she/her. Okay. Maybe they came to the correct conclusion, but I honestly don't know. It's not really clear if the shooter is a male who identified as a female identified as a male, or just a woman with male aliases. I think it's that last thing. Plus, she was an illegal immigrant, an illegal migrant. But one thing that we do know, the police have to respect the deceased attempted murderer's pronouns, because we are clearly living in clown world. That we are. Anyway, that's on Not the Bee. And next article I have pulled up. Got a couple pulled up here from Leo Hohmann. And we'll just kind of touch on these a little bit. This first one, report calls for limits on air travel. This is part of a broader globalist plan to ration travel of all kinds. No more unlimited planes, trains, or automobiles for the serfs. So that headline kind of sums up exactly what's going on there. Leo Hohmann's doing some really good work, I think. Here's one more from him. WEFer Klaus Schwab pronounces new dawn of human civilization based on technology and transhumanism. If the globalists succeed in creating a new population of transhumans, I think they already have. What we're looking at is the death of free will. You remember what we showed at the beginning of this broadcast? With the orange fluorescent glow people have who've been injected? I think that already exists. So again, yeah, this is on leohohmann.com. We'll link to this in the Substack post that I put out either tomorrow or Tuesday. And I mentioned last week that I would let you guys know if this passed, and indeed it did. Senate passes $95.3 billion aid package for, guess who? Israel and Ukraine. Oh, and Taiwan too. With nothing. Zero for U.S. border security. That's because they're letting everyone come here. Why would they have any money going to border security? They don't want any borders. So I just thought I would mention it. I mean, it kind of says it all. Again, it's, Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, $95.3 billion. U.S. border, zero. And yum, the Biden regime is using taxpayers' money to fund research into trash-fed crickets for human consumption. So the crickets get to eat trash, and we get to eat the crickets. Isn't that lovely? Doesn't Joe Biden love you? Mighty Cricket Inc., a company specializing in cricket-based food products. That right there should, they should be out of business just based on that first sentence alone. Cricket-based food products. I mean, unless you're selling to fish, it's the beneficiary of the USDA's grant, and the grant was $130,000, that's taxpayer money, in federal funds, that's our money, to support research into cultivating crickets as a protein source using municipal landfill waste. So it's not bad enough that you are going to be forced to eat crickets. Now they have to be fed by trash. So I think this qualifies, if you ask me, this is cricket abuse. Feeding trash to the crickets and then forcing us to eat them. Anyway, yeah, that's what the Biden regime's up to. Just thought you'd like to know. San Francisco appoints its first non-citizen to sit on the city's elections commission, and she's only been in the U.S. since 2019. Isn't that nice? This is how a nation ends. First, they open the borders to millions of illegal invaders, and then they put non-citizens in charge of elections. Kelly Wong from Hong Kong was recently appointed to serve in the San Francisco Department of Elections. Kelly is not a citizen and came to the U.S. in 2019, around 5 years ago. So automatically she's qualified, apparently. Wong, a non-citizen, says she will champion immigrant rights like voting, ? She's a champion of equity and inclusion. Unless, of course, you're white and American already. If that's the case, then no equity, no inclusion for you. So anyway, thought that was kind of interesting. That's what's happening in San Francisco. It's kind of like in Illinois, where they're hiring the illegals to be the police there in a town in Illinois near Chicago. And this is the same article really here, more information on Not the Bee. San Francisco is really out here appointing a non-citizen to oversee their elections. Guys, reality is becoming such a joke that I can't even tell real from fake anymore. I saw this post on X from a meme account, so I thought it was a joke. This is the post. New. San Francisco appoints first non-citizen to serve on elections commission. Kelly Wong, who came to the U.S. in 2019 from China and isn't legally allowed to vote, will be overseeing and creating policy for the San Francisco Department of Elections. Wong is immigrant rights advocate who wants to educate other immigrants who don't speak English about the voting process so they can vote too, I guess. Imagine that people who don't want to integrate by doing the least and learn the national language will be deciding on the future in an American city. That is insanity. Says, very funny. It's San Francisco, so they're letting people who aren't Americans oversee an American election. And then I Googled it. So there it is. On kqed.org. San Francisco appoints first non-citizen to serve on elections. No, this is something that they really did in San Francisco. Yeah. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Yeah. Too late. We've all taken the same crazy pills. And they really downed the whole bottle in San Francisco. What a mess. All right, more from Biden's trip to East Palestine. A year after toxic chemical explosion, Biden lies that, quote, my administration was on the ground within hours, end quote. East Palestine mayor who endorsed Trump takes subtle jab at old Joe. There's the giant mushroom cloud. Toxic mushroom cloud. Joe Biden on Friday during his first visit to East Palestine, whichever it is, Ohio, since the toxic train derailment disaster over 1 year ago, struggled through his speech and lied about his administration's involvement in assisting residents. Remember, it was Trump who visited East Palestine, not Joe Biden. I think it's Palestine. Palestine. More than 1 year after the East Palestine train derailment, Joe Biden is finally visiting the site of the disaster. Well, he wanted to make sure that the air was nice and clean again. Wouldn't want to have dementia from visiting the site after all, would you, Joe? Anyway, yeah, he finally apparently made it there. I was not really sure that he would, but there he is, including some video clips and probably lots of funny memes as well. And then this is what the kids said in response to old Joe. Don't sniff me. East Palestine residents protest Joe's arrival 1 year after the toxic train crash. Don't sniff me. Resident, not president. So that's some smart kids right there. Pretty funny. But they know. They get it. All right, DEI. You guys know what that is. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Monsters, DEI monsters, take down 90-year-old disability volunteer for not understanding pronouns. So, I thought this first sentence was kind of funny. I recently read about an animal known as the sea squirt, that eats its own brain as it progresses to the next stage. Sea squirt, also known as woke individuals. It couldn't be a better analogy for the DEI and woke mentality. Here's another story about the insane theology called diversity, equity, and inclusion that no one can live up to. In January, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society forced 90-year-old Fran Itkoff to step down from her voluntary position. She has served the nonprofit organization for 60 years before being let go for allegedly violating the group's diversity and inclusion policies. Her vile anti-diversity act? She was confused about pronouns. In an interview with Libs of TikTok, Itkoff and her daughter explained that Itkoff's husband, who had MS, had taken over the Long Beach Lakewood chapter prior to his death. After his death, she continued the group, volunteering for a total of 60 years. She described an interaction with a representative from the MS Society where she was asked to use her pronouns. Itkoff said she was confused because she didn't know what that meant. I had seen it on a couple of letters that had come in after a person's name. They had the pronouns, but I didn't know what that meant, the 90-year-old said. She is 90 after all. When Itkoff was told she was required to write she, her after her name to be all-inclusive, she still couldn't understand why. Because it's obvious. Because it sounds like you're labeling for females, not males, if you're just putting in she, her, she said. Her daughter explained that all her mother was trying to do was understand what they were talking about. Anyone who has an older family member and an ounce of compassion would understand that someone of Itkoff's generation, the expectation to declare one's gender identity could be confusing. You don't say. How about anyone from my generation too? And I ain't nowhere near 90. But it seems like the representative of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has never met an older person or looked at life from another perspective before. That's right. That's right. Because all that matters is their perspective, you see. That's all that matters. So if you offend them, you've offended God in their mind. Because they are the gods of their world. So anyway, that's on Gateway Pundit. This is the sort of continuation of that 90-year-old asked to step down from MS Society after 6 decades because she didn't understand the pronoun policy. So more info here on that. And here's the actual interview. There she is. So that's what they're doing to 90-year-old women who volunteer almost their entire life to help out. United States sees largest population increase in history in 2023 thanks to old Joe and the open borders. Here's the chart. Of course, this is probably way low. But largest one-year increase in U.S. history of population. 3.8 million, this says, but it's probably more like 30 million or something like that. Who knows? The U.S. saw its largest population increase in its 247-year history thanks to old Joe last year. 3.8 million people in 2023, exceeding any previous year in population growth. Wow. And that of course, is just a low estimate. That's not even a real number, but even the low estimate is far and above. Here we go. CDC confirms mysterious outbreak on cruise ship infecting over 150 passengers and crews. Was this article posted in 2020? Because that's sure what it seems like. Are we having 2020 like deja vu? Didn't the same two football teams play in the Super Bowl, and didn't the Chiefs win in 2020? The Chiefs beat the 49ers in 2020, isn't that right? Right before the pandemic all kicked in and Trump was ousted and we had a fake election, and isn't this deja vu all over again? Seems like it is to me. CDC confirms mysterious outbreak on cruise ship infecting over 150 passengers. Let me guess, they're all... The luxury ocean liner Queen Victoria, interesting name, became the center of an unknown outbreak after 129 passengers and 25 crew were struck by an unidentified gastrointestinal illness. Wow, causing symptoms of diarrhea and vomiting during its 107-night world voyage. I bet that would have been a fun one to be on, man. 107 nights, and you got 150 people vomiting and having diarrhea all at the same time. Isn't that nice? And don't you know they flushed everything overboard right into the ocean? Guaranteed. Let's see. Yeah. Widespread sickness has been ongoing through the ship's journey, which sailed from Southampton, UK on January 11th, set to conclude its voyage on April 24th. Who does this? I guess you'd have to be retired. I don't know who can go to sea for that long. That's crazy. The itinerary includes visits to several exotic destinations, including Cape Town and Hong Kong. I've been to both. How about that? It was when the ship docked in Fort Lauderdale, though, that the CDC began its remote monitoring of the health situation on board. Anyway. So, yeah. And there's the video if you guys want to find out more about what's going on with the mysterious outbreak. But, yeah, it appears to be gastrointestinal. So it's maybe some new version of COVID. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to call it. Yeah, Queen Victoria. That's interesting. Sony buys Michael's music catalog for only $600 million, despite the pop star calling Sony's former CEO the devil before his death. So Michael Jackson, whom I have personally met before and talked to, that's because I used to work in a recording studio in Los Angeles, and the studio that I worked at, Michael recorded Dangerous there while I was there. And he literally had the studio booked for about 2 solid years, something like that, maybe more, every single day. 2 rooms, and then also infrequently at some of the other rooms in the Hollywood facility. The studio where he was in Sherman Oaks, which is in the Valley. But I ran into him on several occasions, and he was a really nice guy. And I do happen to know that his catalog was already owned by Sony. So what this is about, I have no idea, which is why I pulled up the article. Sony already owned the catalog. Says Sony finally got its wish to own a major stake in Michael Jackson's music catalog. Billboard has reported Sony Music Group will pay $600 million for a stake in the late pop star Michael Jackson's recorded master catalog and publishing rights. Jackson's estate was making close to $75 million annually off of Jackson's publishing right and master's catalog. If alive, Jackson himself would be outraged over the deal, considering in 2002 Jackson called out Sony for attempting to destroy him. Yeah, and in the end, he got destroyed, not sure by who. Jackson gloated that Sony was mad at him for owning half of Sony's publishing and continued to call Sony's CEO at the time, Tommy Mottola, the devil. Yeah. So they were trying to buy him out of his half, apparently. So that's the new wrinkle here. Sony Music buys half of Michael Jackson's catalog for more than $600 million, and his music catalog becomes the most valued in history, settling at between $1.2 and $1.5 billion. Let's not forget that he fought so hard for this not to happen. Michael Jackson exposed Tommy Mottola. Yeah, and we know what they did to Michael. Which, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe all the stuff about him being a pedo and all that stuff, because they really wanted to get rid of him. I'm not sure. Yeah, wasn't that the same CEO that was married to Mariah Carey? Yeah, exactly. Notice Mariah Carey was also on Sony. Yeah. Tommy Mottola. Yep, that's right. Was married to Mariah Carey. Correct. So anyway, there's some information here on this. I do think it's kind of interesting that they're spinning it in this way. But yeah, Sony already had a huge control part of the catalog anyway. But yeah, Michael would not be too happy that they've basically got control of the other half at this point. So, not good news. All right, let's see here. New York Times says Biden has to have a special Secret Service agent at the bottom of the stairs just in case what? just in case he falls, which we all know that Biden's number one nemesis. There it is right there. He's approaching it. Number one nemesis for President Biden, stairs. Of course, he's really just a resident, not a president. But notice how they've had to shorten the stairs a lot. Anyway, yeah, but look at the guy at the bottom of the stairs to catch him if he falls. So yeah, Secret Service agent's been ordered to position himself at the bottom of the stairs to protect President Biden if he were to trip. Not if, when. He always does, because it's his number one nemesis. President is an old man. It says, I just feel bad for whoever is on diaper duty. Yeah, that's not good. We've heard those stories too. So anyway, yeah, that's on notthebee.com. And one more from there. Car wash worker power washes lady who rolled down the window and threw a lemonade at her. At first I thought, is that good or no? We've all been to car washes, right? Like, we know to have our windows rolled up, right? I'm certain it warns us before we pull in. Well, this lady, I don't think, caught the warning. So you guys want to see it? Here it is. So watch what happens. This lady right here is the one that's just soaking down the car as it's going into the car wash. What she did to offend the lady driving, I have no idea, but you can watch and see what happens with the retaliation. Here it is. She's just hosing it down. And then out of nowhere, boom. So then, wham. That's some pretty fast thinking. So yeah, she's just hosing down the car. For some reason, the lady driving the car decides to throw her lemonade. I don't know what. I guess they knew it was a lemonade. They threw it on her. She did, and then she hoses her while she's got the window down. That is funny. So watch out. If you guys go to a car wash and you're mad at your service, make sure your windows are rolled up. And there's a spit take that goes with it. Yeah. You think it's wrong for do you think the employee is wrong for spraying that girl in the face? Her employer doesn't seem to think so. Anna, 18, became a viral sensation for spraying water from a powerful hose through an open window of a rude customer's vehicle while working at an Indiana car wash. So for all you Hoosiers out there, this girl's a student, said that her employer sided with her to ensure her workplace safety. I told my managers, who were not okay with the customer throwing a drink at me, she said. They decided to ban her and her boyfriend from the car wash. Wow. Pretty cool. So there's still some justice in the world. No, I'm just joking. But kind of funny. So yeah, for you crazy Hoosiers out there, you know who you are. I used to be one, so I can say that. And then I mentioned it before. Trump ordered to pay over $350 million for, quote, fraud in New York civil trial with no clear victim. But he's Trump, so he has to pay. Alexei Navalny dies in Russian prison. I mentioned that earlier, too. Ben Shapiro reiterates that he doesn't give a darn about the browning of America. So he's all for the border invasion, I guess. Let's see. Oh, he's all for the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. We already knew that. Let's see here. CNN lawmakers think hyped national security threat is attempt to shore up support for foreign aid bill. Yep. Well, anyway, there's some interesting headlines on information liberation. If you want some, I thought I knew pretty much everything there was to know about all of the really terrible stuff Barack Hussein Obama did. But no, I didn't know. And you probably don't either. There's a lot in this video. Did Obama commit massive, blatant treason? You be the judge.
2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi intelligence service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country. In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual who became president in 2008 of the United States. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time.
They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally verified.
No.
GCHQ has probably the most invasive network intercept program anywhere in the world, and it's the world's first full take, they call it, and that means content in addition to metadata on everything.
Top secret 2016 United Kingdom Government Communications Headquarters document signed off by GCHQ Director Robert Hennigan under the umbrella of New World Order loon Boris Johnson details an operation known as Project Folsom, boldly stating, 28th of August 2016, GCHQ CSO filed for permission to execute Project Folsom at the request of the U.S. President Barack Obama, seeking intelligence gathering into the Trump Organization and Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated. Activities include foreign and U.S. domestic signals collection in regards to communications with Russian hostile actors. 2. IOCCO approved Folsom on 15th of September 2016, allowing 90 days of initial signet gathering with the potential for renewal should the situation allow. 3. Since Folsom's start, a clear pattern of actionable leads have accrued, both from the Trump campaign itself, from former MI5 agent Michael Steele, and from others. 4. U.S. National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice has requested that we continue our surveillance during the transition period, as internal U.S. intelligence is potentially compromised by the incoming Trump administration. The verification of the document is still in question. However, General Flynn has referenced the document several times for years.
The U.S. intelligence community asked foreign spy agencies to surveil 26 associates of Donald Trump in the run-up to the 2016 election. The UK's Government Communication Headquarters, which is an intelligence gathering apparatus, also known as GCHQ, was making contacts with Trump's associates as early as March of 2016, according to the report. A GCHQ spokesman denied the report, calling it nonsense. The journalists say that intelligence related to the surveillance effort is housed in a 10-inch binder, which Trump, near the end of his presidency, ordered to be declassified.
But obviously, if this binder contains what we have been told that it contains, which may include raw intelligence, information showing that the U.S. government, the CIA and the intelligence community of the U.S. government, initiated the Russia collusion hoax, that it did not occur in the way that the official story, including the Durham investigation, had portrayed it, then that's extremely serious information. And it may be, if the FBI then went to go get it in order to continue the cover-up of this information, that obviously adds an even more dramatic wrinkle to this.
Barack Obama, hell-bent on maintaining his executive power, in league with global intelligence agencies, conspired to commit treason on a scale that makes Watergate look like a caveman having a picnic. John Bound reporting.
Pretty crazy, huh? Treason. Well, if you had to pick somebody that would commit treason against this country, I would say that would be a good first choice, wouldn't you? Yeah. Anyway, I would say that's a rhetorical question. Yeah, I think he probably committed treason many times while he was the president. Okay, elderly UK couple ordered to sell home to house migrants. Now, this has now been rescinded, I guess, but it says an elderly English couple was shocked to receive a letter from their county's council ordering them to sell their home to house migrants. It says they received a strongly worded letter in January claiming that their £200,000 home could be subject to compulsory purchase from the government to be used to house young migrant men. But apparently it was just a mistake. Yeah, right. It's because they didn't, they questioned it. I think that's why it turned out to be an error. So it says Northamptonshire Council later apologized, claiming a letter demanding elderly couples surrender their home to migrants was just an error. It was just a little glitch. Clerical error. No. I think, personally, that it's because these people were questioning it instead of just following along like they should have. If they would have followed the directions that they were told to do, I don't think it would ever have been questioned. So anyway, that's what we have to do. Put our feet down on stuff like this. So anyway, pretty wild. That's on InfoWars. And then modernity.news poll. 1 in 5 Americans believe Taylor Swift's psyop to rig 2024 election is real. Still described as a conspiracy theory. It's real. Almost a fifth of Americans believe that there really is a psyop involving Taylor Swift to help rig the 2024 election to ensure Joe Biden wins. Yeah, and if he does, or whoever it is, old Taylor will be front and center in one of the main reasons why, most likely. She can swing it about 18%, apparently, one way or the other. Right here. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans, 18%, believe Taylor Swift is part of a covert government effort to re-elect POTUS Biden. Among the group, 71% identify with the GOP, 83% are likely to vote for Trump, and 73% believe Biden won in 2020 by fraud. So, but yeah, it says that, it's interesting, it says that Newsweek found 18% of voters would be either more likely or significantly more likely to vote for a candidate backed by Taylor Swift. So that's the stat that I knew before. 18%, 666, would be likely to back whoever Taylor Swift says. But this is also saying that 1 in 5 Americans, 18%, believes that she's part of a covert government effort to re-elect Biden. So yeah, I don't disagree. Biden announces he's on TikTok a year after he banned it on all federal devices. Makes sense. TikTok is also owned by China. Just like he is. Pretty funny. Joe Biden's campaign announced Sunday that he's now on TikTok, despite the fact that Biden signed a bill banning the platform on all devices assigned to federal employees a year ago. But believe me, he has no recollection. He has no memory of that event. All right, geoengineeringwatch.org. Show number 445. Wow. I can't believe we've done 445 shows now. Yeah, UN chief warns climate chaos and food crises threaten global peace. Empty bellies fuel unrest. That new headline is from AP. Now let's add this. From the Wall Street Journal, scientists resort to once unthinkable solutions to cool the planet. Wall Street Journal report is, of course, referring to spraying the Earth's skies with sun-blocking particles. It's okay, though, because Bill Gates wants to do it. He's just helping. We must deal with the biggest hole in the bottom of the boat, climate intervention operations. The boat goes down, game over. So says Dane, and I tend to believe him. I think he's right. Geoengineeringwatch.org, nanoparticle rain is this week's show. So yeah, interesting stuff. It's a good show as always. It's available on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube, and then also on Spotify. Geoengineeringwatch.org for the show this week. I came across this show too. I thought it was pretty good. I'll link to this in my Substack post that I put out in the next day or so. Truth be told, you guys know who Todd Callender is. I think he's doing really good work. In this particular show, he's with Maria Z, and they're talking about Disease X. And they touch on some interesting things there, and he says some of the same things that I've been saying for a long time as well, talking about how the next mRNA really will need to be super scary, and it will probably have to involve bleeding. Otherwise, people are just not going to be that terrified of it. So then they talk about Ebola and Marburg and so forth and so on. So it's worth a watch. Definitely check this one out. I thought it was well done, and Maria's always got a lot of good information and good contribution as well. So yeah, that's on BitChute. And then this one was just sent to me earlier by my friend on Facebook, and I won't mention her name, but you know who you are. Mel Gibson says Prince William is the Antichrist. That's what he says. See, there's the headline right there. Mel Gibson says Prince William is the Antichrist. Well, he's close. He's close. And I don't think anyone is officially the Antichrist quite yet. Let me just clarify that. I still think it's his dad, though, not him. He does not have the imagery associated with the book of Revelation. So I think Tim Cohen has proven over and over and over that really the guy that has the imagery and the pedigree and everything is Charles, his dad. But it's interesting that Mel Gibson is that close as far as calling out Prince William. So I'm not going to bother playing this, but I did watch it earlier, and I do think, he brings up some good points, but I think he's wrong, but I do think he's super close. So way to go, Mel. You got the family right, for sure. But yeah, we'll link to this in the Substack post, so you guys can go find it on Rumble. It's just go to Rumble and search for Mel Gibson, Prince William is the Antichrist, and you'll find it. But kind of interesting that is coming out now, huh? USDebtClock.org. We always look at the secret message. Here it is. New money, old money. Seems like we've seen this one a few times recently. I think this one is slightly different than the other version that we saw maybe a couple weeks ago. But that's the message this week. Perpetual debt interest creation, unlimited unaudited wealth extraction scheme. That's the old money. 1913 to 2024, this says. New money, asset-based wealth creation, limited supply, of increased value, transparent, verifiable, real assets. Well, that's all pretend, because that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. So U.S. Debt Clock, I wish you were right, but you're not. It's never going to make it to there, unfortunately, in my opinion. So I think old Woodrow Wilson and company have won out for the long term, unfortunately, until it all is imploded on purpose. And I think we're not too far from that happening. And then, I mentioned the Todd Callender show there on BitChute. New emerges, 5G triggers symptoms in the already sky must be terrifying to nearly all of humanity, possibly bleeding. I put this on my end times events sheet that I set up about a year ago, and still feel like that's probably the way it's going to unfold. But we'll see. There's so many people that are triggering the symptoms using some other sort of wireless technology would not be that difficult, whatever they want it to be, whether it's bleeding or whatever. So yeah, that's on my Canva is where that is, and I link to this actually in every one of the main Substack posts that I put out there, so it's there if you want to check it out. And then new product alert. Got a few new things here I've added to the store. My good friend Mark suggested that we have some hoodies for sale. So in fact, I designed a couple of hoodies and have them on here. It's actually one hoodie. It's just multiple colors. You'll see two different ones here. Let's look at this one first. But if you want to help out exactly this show and help out in some small way, buy a hoodie. Buy a sticker. I'll show you the stickers here in a minute. We've got some new products on there, and if you want to support the show and what I'm doing, I certainly would appreciate it. But, it's not a hard sell. It's just there if you are interested. This was actually Mark's idea, so I'll give him full credit. He wanted to see a hoodie that had the Conspiracy Analyst logo on it, and that's what we've got here, Conspiracy Analyst. And you can see kind of what it looks like. There's the back. Under the hood, there's the Diamond Report logo, and then you can see Conspiracy Analyst, www.thediamond.report on it, and then that's pretty much all there is to it. It's in multiple colors, multiple sizes from small to 3X, black, charcoal heather, forest green, and navy. And if those colors don't really float your boat, then try this one. This one, it's the exact same design with other colors: maroon, military green, purple, and Team Royal is just royal blue. So there is the maroon, there's the blue, and there's the purple. So they're available out there. There's the you saw that military green there. So yeah, if you're interested in a hoodie, they Susan says I want one of those hoodies. Says they're super soft. Yeah, they're supposed to be. I ordered one, so I'll get to check it out next week whenever I get it. So it is there, and again, the price isn't exactly what I would like, and I barely make anything off of it. However, it's a good promotional type of thing for what I'm doing. So if you guys want to support what I'm doing, I certainly would appreciate any sort of purchases from the store, but it's in the black box in the corner up there. Shop.thediamond.report is where it is. You can go there and find the Diamond Report store pretty easily. And if you click on the home page up here, just click on that main banner, you will get the Lost Arts Radio store, but it's actually all kind of combined into one place here. So you can just go down here and click on the Diamond Report, or scroll down all the way and you'll see the Lost Arts Radio stuff that's also here in the same store. So stickers are the other things that we just added. $5, 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch stickers, Diamond Report logo, and there's also 4x4, so 4 inch by 4 inch stickers too. Right there, same price. So yeah, if you want a sticker, I ordered a couple stickers as well. I'm going to put one on my car. And a hoodie. Thought we'd try that out and see what it looked like. I've heard really, really good things about the product, the quality of the products, and I've got a few here. I've ordered a few things here and there, and they do seem to be really good. They're print on demand, so they don't exist until you order something. But the products do seem to be pretty good quality. So that's good news. So if you want to help out what I'm doing, that's one way to do it. Another way to support what I'm doing. Again, you didn't see any ads in this show. It's a long show. We're 2.5 hours in, and we covered nothing but the news pretty much. I need a white and pink, Melinda says. A white and a pink version. Well, we can do white. I'm not sure if there's pink. I don't think pink was a choice. Maroon was as close as we got. But yeah, thanks, Melinda. I can probably add a white one. But yeah, the Susan says to model it for us. Okay, I'll do that when I get it. I'll show it to you. But I'm hoping that the quality is good. I think it will be. All the other products that I bought from there, including the clothing, have been really good quality. So hopefully it will be. So yeah, the Substack is the other way to support what I'm doing. It's probably the easiest way to go. If it interests you, you can just sign up for free if you want to. Just put your email in there and hit subscribe, and you will be taken to this page, which is the main blog posting site here, and then the main newest article that I post is front and center there. That was the broadcast for tonight that sends everybody the links for the broadcast every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, then previous postings that I've done are also listed here. And then also don't forget the other social media links are all right here too. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. This is all of the different, Telegram, all the different social media platforms I'm on. You can go there and get them all in one place. Getter, Brighteon Social, MeWe, CloutHub, Gab. Coldcast I'm not really using at the moment. Gab, Minds, Telegram, DLive, ClickView. ClickView's not really working at the moment either. So there's a couple of them, I guess, that not really using much right now, but BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and so forth. So anyway, they're there. So I'd appreciate that if you go sign up, totally free. And there is a mechanism there to support what I'm doing if you're so interested. All right, so check out my Twitter. I'm on there posting things every now and then, mostly retweeting. I'm putting this show on Twitter. I did come across this. Check this out. Infant with 6 toes on both feet. This is not fake. This is not Photoshop. This is real. How do I know? I took the photo, Stephen Kirsch says. 6 toes. Count them. I wonder why. Little Nephilim, maybe? Pretty wild. And I thought this was funny. I reposted this because this is exactly what I said. And I just saw this tweet earlier today from Harrison Smith of InfoWars. He says, Jesus was the Messiah, and you are praying to a Roman fort. Wow. Go, Harrison. That's exactly what I said the other day when I showed old Malay bawling his eyes out and going for a hug at the Wailing Wall, which I said was what? A Roman fort. So Harrison, he knows exactly what's up. Says, and you're praying to a Roman fort. That's awesome. Pretty wild. But yeah, how about that? 6 toes on the kid. Not good. Yeah, Emily says, oh crap, Nephilim. Yeah, exactly. I mean, how else do you explain that? Melinda says, thank you, Doug. Love being here with all these wonderful folks. I pray everyone has a very blessed week, and God bless. Yeah. Pretty good response on last week's show from the Smart City Plasma Fires in Chile. A lot of good comments on that. So thank you, guys. And note that I am putting this show up on Tuesdays. We'll do a premiere on YouTube. I'll have to wait, though, until I have the version that's the YouTube safe version. I suppose that's pretty much it for me tonight. I've got more videos to show, but I hate to keep you guys here all night. It's already 12:30, so it's kind of late. I'll probably play one more on the way out here. We've got several things that we haven't watched yet, but I feel like we covered a lot tonight, and definitely we'll look forward to next week, which will be the 25th? At 10 p.m. Central Time is when we'll start, and we'll run for a couple hours, give or take a bit, maybe 3. This is my Rumble channel for those who are interested. Diamond Disc on Rumble and BitChute, same thing, DIAMONDISC. And Brighteon, same thing. And then Band. Miss Emily has posted the Band link in the chat if you guys want to click through and join the band group. Lots of new people have showed up in there in the last week or so, so welcome everyone who's there. Even had at least one person, I'm not sure guy or girl, but one person that showed up in there didn't even know the Diamond Report was a live news show. So I was trying to let him or her know that, and I don't know if they're here tonight, but either case, welcome, and I'm glad you guys made it tonight, so thanks so much for hanging out with me for the last 2.5 hours and some change. So we had lots to cover and lots to talk about tonight for sure, just like we always do. So this is a jam-packed broadcast, no commercials, and we just go wall to wall pretty much here. That's what we try and do anyway. Try and give you guys as much information and news as possible, and then we're trying to squeeze in a little bit of fun as well. So it's always a challenge. But yeah, Marty says get some sleep. I'll try to. You guys too. So I hope you guys have a blessed week and keep the Lord Jesus Christ front and center in your life. I'm trying to. Hope you guys are as well, and I hope you guys have a really blessed week. And we'll get back together again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, as they say. And yeah, we'll take a look at a video on the way out here. We've got several interesting ones here, but how about this one? It's called "The Rot is Real." So it's kind of interesting title. I'm like, what's that about? So you can probably pretty much guess. We are in a rotten world, are we not? But we have bigger, better things ahead of us. When we look at what's coming in the immediate future, it doesn't look very good. But long term, I think it will be just fine. So thank you guys. Hope you have a blessed one, and we'll talk again next week.
The rot is real. America is deliberately being destroyed from within.
I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but is that an upside down cross, bro?
As the expanse of the western United States has finally been breached,
it's as if fentanyl is raining on our reservation. That I'll do anything to help.
Marvin Weatherwax Jr. is a tribal leader here and says much of the drug activity on his reservation stems from Mexican cartels selling to community members and using their homes, often in remote areas, as distribution hubs. Profit margins soar the further away from the Mexican border you go. A single fentanyl pill that costs between 4 and 25 cents to produce in Mexico can be sold for 50 cents or $1 in San Diego, and over $100 on some reservations here in Montana. 2 years ago, there were 19 police officers for the whole reservation. So they sued the Bureau of Indian Affairs asking for help, but no help arrived. They now say they're down to 7 officers. The Blackfeet declared a state of emergency 2 years ago after 17 people overdosed, leaving 4 dead in just 1 week.
The drug problem on our reservation, it's so serious that it's pretty much wiping out a generation.
Meanwhile, Democrat operatives are targeting Black Americans that stray from their clutches of mind control.
Now here's some photos from inside the Upper Midwest Law Center. That group has been in the news many times for the work they do, supported by conservatives. The other conservative groups in the Golden Valley office building are the conservative think tank, the Center of the American Experiment, and Take Charge, a conservative group led by and centered on Black Minnesotans.
Again, we've seen these patterns of behavior targeted on people, I guess, especially on what they believe in. If it's not in the popular culture, it feels like they have a license to hunt. And we need to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Congressmen are barred from investigating issues at federally funded immigration centers.
Yeah, we just wanted to come in and take a look if we could. We're down here. Natural Resources Committee had a hearing this week, and just wanted to stop in and take a look at how this place is operating, because we understand that you have a lot of migrants coming through here.
So unfortunately, we're not allowed to let anybody that's not part of, the employees and staff.
Hey, ma'am. So we're not trespassing. No, we're here as members of Congress, and there are federal dollars that go into this operation, so we have oversight. And we just want to go in and see what your operation looks like. We asked for access here. This is federally funded. We believe that as members of Congress, me and Representative Lamalfa should be able to access. But we will move on from here.
While foreigners declaring asylum ravage the United States like it's their personal ATM machine.
Crackdown on a Romanian organized crime ring accused of skimming more than $2 million from state-issued EBT cards in Orange County. 48 suspects under arrest, including one of Romania's most wanted criminals. Prosecutors say a cell of criminals moved from town to town using stolen EBT card cash to buy baby formula, which is in dire need in Mexico. Then they went down to Mexico to trade the formula with drug cartels.
Now, 3 people with no U.S. IDs are taken into custody in Central Florida.
They are accused of stealing money from ATMs, and investigators say it's part of a bigger international crime problem.
All of these suspects are transients. Detectives don't know where they live, and in some cases don't even know their real names. As we scoured through the arrest reports, we found 3 Romanian suspects from 3 different counties, all charged with fraudulent credit card crimes at ATMs like this one.
Time for the United States is running out. The rot is real, and it is exponentially accelerating. John Bound reporting.